is currently 6:46 p.m. I'm starting my next vlog, and I will see you soon. Bye.
Instead of 2 ways.
So tired, and it's only like 8:30.
And that would
equate
from 1980 to today, he would have made $35,673 that week for house shows in Mid-South Wrestling. And because a single main event, not a single guy, like he's not married, but a single main event.
Yep.
There's only 2 ways.
Oh my God. Well, let me ask you this though. Like, when you look at the money you made in Mid-South, obviously there's a difference between the money you make and the money you keep. Versus a place like Southeastern or World Class, where everything was relatively close to home. Like, how much money would you have to spend? What were the expenses for being on the road so?
$32.
Hi.
Repetition of the vibe and what he ended up doing in the fall. But in the meantime, that's the approach that I believe Dusty took. And you can, it bears out by, in May and June, we made less than $5,000 a month. In July, we made $17,515 a piece. And of course, we worked all but 2 days. And into August, we followed that up, making almost $13,000 with 10 days off. And in September, we had 8 days off. More on that later. A few of them were a paid vacation from the company, and made $9,000, and half the month that we lost our opponents, which we'll talk about here in a second. So you can see that he got business back at that point.
Don't mind me.
And that's when a lot of the family members, Francis and David, thought, well, wait a minute, let's reconsider selling this, because we got a good talent roster. If Turner, obviously they're not going to kick us off. Let's try to give the overview. The Horseman deal.
You turned it black.
And then James is wonderful. Jim Crockett Promotions 9.
So it worked.
Let's talk about the actual design of the belt. I think a lot of people believe the rumor and innuendo that this is the world title that Mr. Perfect smashed up one day on a Saturday night's main event. Famously, he stole the title belt from Hulk Hogan.
I remember this being kind of that genesis of the I'm hardcore stuff in the that video that we had used with Mick, and people always talking about Mick being a hardcore legend. So that was something that was in Mick's DNA and that Russo liked, and it might have been, for all I know, it might have been Mick's idea. Because Mick always did push that hardcore shit.
So, the first ever hardcore title match happened the next week on Raw when Mankind would defeat Ken Shamrock after the Big Boss Man interfered, and now Mankind retains here as a result. The following week, he gets a win over Shamrock and Boss Man in a triple threat match after the Job Squad interfere, where Al Snow would hit Boss Man with head.
So, it's one of those things we'll never know.
We will never know, and what we will know is that the next match is Bob Orton Jr. versus Ken Woodby. This is the debut of Ken Woodby on the program, Mike, and I'm sure he impressed you.
Barn burner here, right? They tore the house down. 6-star match on the Meltzer scale. No, I really didn't have much from this. There was some audio at the beginning of this that I thought was pretty good or good. What did you think there?
Yeah, let's play that, and we'll talk about it on the other side, because like you said, there isn't much to say about this match. Bob Orton really just kicks the shit out of Ken Woodby. Referee is Jack Howe, but let's hear this audio right now.
Another great card tonight that Grizzly Smith has given those at home with a title bout. There's a lot of promoters in the country that won't put title matches on television. Grizzly said that he believes in showing the people at home the finest wrestling in the world. And I think that's the reason for the people coming out in record crowds to the arenas.
Very, very true. He talked about putting title matches on TV. I had very little knowledge of other wrestling at that point. The only thing I knew was from the PWIs, and I didn't really I didn't watch anything else other than World Class towards the end of '82. But his point about putting title matches on TV, I always took that as, yeah, he is one up in the rest of it, because even once I got to the mid '80s, '84, '85, and I started getting to see a little bit of WWF, I always remember it just being just like, squash matches, nothing never title matches, at least to my recollection. You can tell me if I'm wrong there, because I know you're much more well versed in WWF during that time than I was. But that was the one thing that caught me from this right here.
And the WWF,
it wasn't excessive. I mean, he's right here. Watts is right on the money. They put title matches on TV for the belt before I can remember seeing it done anywhere else.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about the idea of title matches on Mid-South TV later on in the show, but this wasn't one of them. Bob Orton Jr. beats Ken Woodby with a pile driver. And then I guess I should point out, too, that some of the regulars we've gotten used to at ringside are there. There's the old lady sitting in the center. She wears glasses. I don't know how to describe her better than that. She looks rather old. And then the guy with the cowboy hat, the guy with the white cowboy hat, the old man in the front row, he does not have his cowboy hat this week.
Expressionless Larry is what I've started to call him in my mind for some strange reason. He just kind of sits there with his cigarette. Sometimes you see him, otherwise he's not really he doesn't really pop on anything. Do you notice that, Brian? He kind of just stares.
He just stares. Larry isn't the name I would think of. I was thinking of
that night for how many dozen stitches, 4 or 5 dozen, or whatever the fuck, or a mother or a wife. As a matter of fact, didn't Mario Galinto's wife, Smokey, pull a gun on one of the fucking baby faces or one of the heels one night?
No, it was on multiple baby faces every single night.
Well, yeah.
They had to smarten her up. They had that beg Mario to smarten her up because she was pulling guns on the town. I think it happened to the Assassins.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, so, and actually, when I was managing Jesse Barr in Memphis in '82, when I first got in the business, he invited me to come to his apartment in Nashville to have lunch after Memphis TV. We drove back to Nashville, had a couple hours. Said, come over to eat with me and my wife, but I haven't smartened her up, so don't say anything, right? I'm shit. So for about 30 minutes, Lori that drove there, and they were paying their dues, and it made their week because if you were in Kansas City. So it was one of the bigger, but not the biggest territory. There were 4 towns. Just four towns that 5, 7, 8, 11 did $10 million. Promotion, which there's only 1 3/4 maybe. You don't want to put your money in fucking wrestling promotion. You'll lose it. So that was, believe me, I was terribly offended because I had thought in '86
years ago, someone asked him about free agency in baseball, which didn't exist when he was one of the biggest celebrities and stars in North America playing for the New York.
Well, yeah, hey, they've spared absolutely every expense on this set. You got the one with, there you go, you got the one with the worm.
No, this was we did the other
completely stuff. Completely different circumstance.
But anyway, I was actually really joking, and there was no way the cue was
oh my god, I have a literal afro on my head right now. So don't mind that. My hair looks
anyway,
cool.
so,
Wapa.
I think Eddie Gilbert was booking and finally saw that I was turning purple. And
oh yeah. I'm going to the Czechoslovak Spaghetti Eastern semi-final. Woo! One more to say.
My book already came out. February 4th it came out. But I do have it here this weekend. Got a new website. You can find all of my dates, appearances, and booking.
So tired.
I've said this before. If one of us was a black lesbian nun with, a paraplegic. It's the big box. It's the big box. People, ooh, what's in the box? It's been done in wrestling territories for years and years and years. And when the New Age Outlaws come out and go, what the fuck is this? And we don't trust this. And whatever the fuck happened, bam, out bursts Terry Funk in Madison Square Garden or where it was going to be, busts out of the box, and together he and Mick Foley beat up the New Age Outlaws, and there is Mick Foley and Terry Funk as a tag team. And Russo said, well, why would he come out of the box? I said, you idiot. He comes out of the box because that's the way the skit's done. Did you ask the guys in vaudeville, Abbott and Costello, why did they say Flugel Street and slowly I turn? No, because that's the fucking bit. You fucking idiot. You fucking drive me crazy with your stupid fucking comments. And I said, Spence, you ought to know, anybody that comes out of a box always gets over. And he just couldn't comprehend that. And plus, I was fucking with him at that point because he was showing me his fucking stupidity. It's like you like professional baseball, fucking professional football coach, and one of the guys says, let's do a Hail Mary. And the coach says, What's that and why would that work? Vince Russo is the writer of a goddamn major television wrestling program, and he doesn't even know how to bring somebody out of a fucking box because he never paid any attention and blah, blah, blah. It's, you know, he would see things since he has apparently the ADD and not very good attention skills and comprehension, retention is what I'm trying to say. What he would do is he would see things that stuck with him, and he would remember those, but not the setup or the payoff or the build or whatever. So he would just do them. And then he'd do something else. And then people would be going, why would that happen? Followed by that and that. We didn't even remember who was inside of these guys. And they don't know what the fuck. But he doesn't know why you would build the guy coming out of the box. But I don't know. As a double cross his ass. And that's, but I know whose idea it wasn't. It wasn't fucking Vince Russo's. Russo's taking credit for it. Well, I explained to him. When I said double cross in jest about the Shamrock thing, Russo's eyes got even buggier than normal. He didn't know what a double cross was. As Bill Watts used to say, if he was walking through a men's locker room, he'd be whistling Stranger in Paradise. Vince Russo does not know anything about professional athletics or how to manipulate or choreograph or simulate same.
Let's talk a little bit about the Montreal Screwjob, because I was reading some of your interviews, or listening to some of your interviews.
Looks like a fucking mug. That looks like a mug shot.
You're basically the guy that came up with
Seriously.
this, right?
Yeah. Russo came up with that ridiculous brawl for all that not only destroyed Steve Williams' career, but cost the WWF between $5 and $10 million in one night, which I actually brought up to him. I said, hey, well, what do you think now, Russo? You fucking cost the company $10 million in one night with your fucking stupid idea. And got everybody hurt.
The rise of the Ultimate Fighting Championships and didn't understand it. This was the first time they were on pay-per-view before John McCain fucking fucked them. He didn't understand the whole idea. He didn't understand what it was like to actually be in a real fight, since he'd never been in one, which he admits himself. He didn't understand that the guys that were in the WWF were tough, but they were trained and had been training for show, not go. That is a whole lot different, training for actual competition as opposed to training for, at the time, what they were doing, which was pro wrestling. And he didn't understand the whole thing. And he thought that he didn't understand that it was going to create bad feelings in the locker room, because not only was it a shoot, but they were giving out real money prizes, and it was going to cause issues, and it was going to cause injuries. He didn't understand any of that. And he didn't want to listen to it when anybody brought all those things up, because it's not like it took a goddamn Gene Dixon or a fucking Nostradamus.
These days, you killed Owen Hart. To this day, I get tweets about how I killed Owen Hart.
Well, first of all, let me clarify. I never said about, maybe that's why he found God, because he killed Owen Hart. Fuck you, Vince Russo. Owen Hart would have not been up in one of the best wrestlers on a fucking roster, had done everything. He didn't want to be up there. It was Vince Russo's silly-ass idea that a great wrestler like Owen Hart needs something to get over, and gonna do the Blue Blazer because it was funny, because he did it before 10 years ago, so we're gonna do it again because everybody remembers. See, here's the thing with Vince Russo. Everybody remembers Chief Jay Strongbow's social security number. If it happened at the Nassau Coliseum in 1974, everybody remembers that. But if it's NWA history from fucking 10 years ago, why, who would ever remember something like that? You fucking moron. But he put Owen in the Blue Blazer outfit and he fucking hung him up there. And Owen didn't want to fucking do it. He didn't want to do the run through. He didn't want to do the whole goddamn thing. He thought it was stupid, but he was trying to be a company guy. And Vince McMahon, I'm sorry, but you tolerated Vince Russo doing shit like that. I never said Vince Russo. He killed Owen Hart. If I had to sit in the same room with Vince Russo, nothing was getting done. It was hurting business. If Vince was going to go with this fucking guy, which he was going with his concepts and his ideas, and then filtering and monitoring, then it wasn't good for me to be there, and it wasn't good for my fucking arrest record or his fucking health record for us to be in the same room for a while, because it was really getting. I hated the shit. Hated him because now I'd figured out. Not only don't he know, but he don't want to learn. This is what he's going to do. He's going to do, if he was unfiltered, he's going to book wrestling exactly like what you have seen from Vince Russo for the past 10 years since WCW closed down. This is what it's going to be, and I possibly would have murdered him before it got that fucking far. But, apparently Vince, just to close up, dealing with third-party promoters, scouting talent, blah, 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 anything but anything around creative, because I wanted to gouge his eyeballs out. And with Ed Ferrara, who came in to be the paper carrier, because then it was, Joey was like, okay, here's the formats. Russo's walking around with both of his hands free, so he can do the yo bro thing, and there's Ferrara right behind him with the papers like, yes, Mr. Russo, here's your papers, sir. The year 1997 was not the record year for business. It was the year that set up the record year for business, because without Steve Austin and The Rock and the screw job and the evil Mr. McMahon and the anti-establishment take this job and shove it, basically they would have had no fucking pop. It was not hot-shotted to do that. It wasn't Vince Russo overbooking angles and angles and angles until something stuck. It was the stars aligning and converging in the right manner. It was the evil antagonist, Mr. McMahon, and the idea that for once people could believe something about wrestling. For the first time in maybe fucking 5 years, they actually believed something was real, because it was. And those were played on by the best announcer in the business and a network quality television production company that could put those packages together and distribute them all over the world. And the one guy in the middle, like the idiot savant, like in Rain Man, rattling off numbers and mathematical equations and throwing shit against the wall, and 98 of them would bounce back and 2 of those shit balls would stick, was Vince fucking Russo. And Vince Russo now, as a result of 1997 happening right underneath him, joins Eric Bischoff as 2 guys in the wrestling business who have had the most serendipitous career of being in the right place at the right time and being successful for 2 years out of 20. I salute.
Hola amigos, it's currently 6:59 p.m. I'm ending my vlog and I will see you later. Bye.